just mic'd up with Mikey Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Good show.
I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd. It's Ask Mikey and Mitch Day. We got a big day, big conversation about sports, mainly baseball, mainly LSU baseball. Obviously, LSU baseball comes off another midweek game, another midweek win, winning 12-3 last night at home against Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech has given LSU some issues over the last few years. They've been a pretty solid midweek team, solid in-state team. LSU takes care of business. We're going to talk about that throughout the course of the show. Competition, maybe not as high as elite as the competition you're playing in over the weekends and through the course of the SEC, but winning midweek games is important. It shows a lot about the type of team that you have, the character that you have, and the depth that you have, and we're going to talk about that as the show goes on. LSU baseball is on the road right now. They are not anymore. They probably landed. They're probably practicing, which is why Jay Johnson will not be on the show today because they're in the bird. They're flying away to Norman, Oklahoma, and they are currently practicing in Norman, Oklahoma, getting ready for their series against the Oklahoma Sooners. Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Weather's going to be shitty, but you got to play. They don't put asterisks next to these games at the end of the season. You got to play every game. They'll put asterisks next to the nasty weather. Got to go out there and play. Got to go out there and win. Coming off a sweep against Mississippi State, we're going to preview the weekend, talk about what Oklahoma State does well. What Oklahoma does well. Oklahoma State probably does some things well too. Oklahoma does well. What we want to see from the LSU pitching staff, what we want to see from the offense, and what we think is the keys to a series victory on the road against a top 10 team.
Oklahoma State 12-14.
Yeah, not good.
Not doing anything.
Not doing anything. Never mind. Take that back.
12
Oklahoma Sooners. That's where they go, not Oklahoma State. LSU basketball trying to get back into the good graces of the fans. They currently, up to this point, have the number 1 transfer portal class in the country. They need to because a lot of guys have left, and they are trying to build their team for next year. It seems like they had a NIL push to get some more money into the basketball program, and we will see what happens with that. But so far, so good. Obviously, long way to go. We won't know, and the verdict won't be out until next basketball season. But nice to see them going out there and bringing in some high-quality transfers, at least rated highly, and with a good recruiting class coming in. We shall see what happens there. D1 baseball came out with their mid-season rankings or mid-season field of 64. They have LSU 8th overall seed, which means they host a regional, and if you win that, you host a super regional. The 8th seed is I'm not sure about that. I don't know what the deal is of people not really thinking LSU is like one of the, I guess, the top 8 seed would make you an elite team, but feels like they should be on the top half of that. They keep winning, and they keep, for some reason, moving a little bit lower in the polls. We'll talk about why we kind of think that is the case. But they are matched up as of right now. If the season ended today, which it doesn't, there's 6 weeks left in the SEC. No, 6? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in week 4.
Well, 7.
Yeah.
7.
After this
week, there'll be 6.
7.
Yeah. There's 7 weeks left. Obviously, a long way to go. That is 21 games. And so, if it's as it stands today, LSU will be matched up with the Kansas State regional. If you remember, Kansas State.
Wait, been there, done that.
Played that one already, right? Yep. So, good game. Good game. That win actually looks a lot better now, right? Kansas State as of now is the 9 overall seed, and that's what LSU should be paired up. Not any of that matters because they're, like I said, there's 21 SEC games left, plus a tournament, plus midweek game. So that is the rundown of the show of what we were going to talk about. Obviously, the big conversation is with LSU baseball. Jay, welcome to the show from Houston, Tejas. Lloyd, welcome to the show.
From
the
right across
the host of the Jordy Claw Show.
Yeah.
You're a host of your own show.
That's right, and producer.
Host, producer, owner, operator.
That's right.
Yeah. Good.
Checks are rolling in.
That's it. Yeah.
Lloyd is the entity. He is the show.
Before we get to the weekend, before we get to the Oklahoma LSU preview, and before we get to that conversation, let's talk a little bit about the midweek stuff, right? LSU is 10-0. Jared crunched the numbers off air, and Lloyd. Mm-hmm. They both crunched the numbers off air. Did some quick math. LSU is 10-0 in midweek games so far this year. They have outscored their opponents 116-31, which means they are averaging 11.6 runs a game and only giving up 3.1 runs a game. That is great. Last night, basically right on par. 12 runs scored, giving up 3 runs. They took care of business against Louisiana Tech. Some may say, oh, it's midweek games. You should do that. Like, that's how SEC teams or good teams should beat the teams that aren't as good in the midweek. Yeah, theoretically, on paper, yes, but we all know baseball is baseball, and sometimes it'll happen, right? If you look around the league, Arkansas beat Grambling 7-4. Probably a lot closer than they had anticipated. Vanderbilt beat Western Kentucky 5-4. Probably closer than they anticipated. Alabama beat Sanford 11-9. Probably closer than they anticipated. The reason why I say this is because UAB beat Auburn 4-2. Texas State beat Texas 5-3. Right? And Oklahoma was in a dogfight with Texas Tech. So I say all of this to say midweek games aren't always a layup. And you've had some SEC teams struggle with some midweek teams here early. Tennessee's first loss of the season was a midweek loss, right? LSU has not slipped up, and it hasn't been relatively close in any of these games. Jared, what does that tell you about this team?
I mean, one is their ability to kind of stay locked in the moment, playing every game as if it matters. But I particularly think this one was probably one that you could point at because if you remember, they spent 3 days in a row over the weekend dealing with rain delays, long days where when you get through that Sunday game that they play, the Saturday game that they played, that's another long game. You got it done. You got the win. You got a sweep. Knowing that you had that Sunday off, they probably went to work on Monday. And then now you play on Tuesday on the road again today. So, like, you had a short week. It was easily one you probably could have looked over knowing that you were on the road. You probably had a short week going on, and they still found a way to get in there, make this thing a 12-3 ball game, however you want to look at it. And it shows you, as we're looking around the league, to me, it shows you a team that's kind of got some mature ways about them so far. It's kind of figuring out a way to show up day in and day out for all 9. And I think stuff like that, as it kind of gets to the back end of the year, those are special traits that you want for your team. Those are the kind of situations you want your team to kind of be able to show up in. And once again, I'm not trying to glorify what's going on the midweek, but it is something to be said when your team shows up and they take care of those games and they're not particularly close at all.
Yeah, and
I do think that's something you need to look at and you're like,
right,
this does mean something in the big scheme of it.
And we've talked about it before, like, hey, if you lose in the midweek game, it's not the end of the world. Like, it happens, it's part of it, and it is. It's part of the game, right? Like, LSU going undefeated in the midweek is something to talk about. But them losing games, unless they go, they have a losing record midweek games, then that's an issue. But you slip up on a couple games, that's not something to look to panic about. But what it does is it shows you, as you mentioned, the depth of LSU, right? Having the pitching staff to be able to go out there and keep the opposing team at bay and not give them a bunch of runs, not give them easy opportunities to score a bunch of runs. And it shows, and what the offense is doing, it's showing you that they're not giving in. Just like you had mentioned, like they are every at bat matters to them. Every at bat they are locked in. You have guys that are getting, like Ethan Fry, right? Ethan Fry has been hot. He has stayed hot. Last night he had 3 hits. You're having all of the guys that you need to continue to stay locked in and hone in on what they wanted to do. They're doing that. You also mentioned, which I completely agree with, this game specifically last night was a easy game to overlook. Long weekend. You played 2 games that went past midnight, one that went almost to 2 a.m., right? You get Sunday off, you get Monday off. You have to play Tuesday midweek against Louisiana Tech, knowing that you're going on the road to Oklahoma, knowing that the weather this weekend is going to be shitty, and you're going to have to kind of go through exactly what you went through last week, again this weekend. And so this one was very easy to just kind of overlook, and they didn't do that. They played their ass off, and they beat them 12-3, and they did everything that you wanted them to be. William Schmidt got some innings. He went 2 2/3, I believe, got the win. So he's able to get some work. You got a lot of the bullpen guys that were able to get some work because they didn't really had to be used a ton over the weekend. And so there's a lot of things that you want to get out of the midweek. The most important thing is winning, and the way that they've won it, I think it shows how good they are and how deep this team is.
Yeah, like I'm not at all in the business of crowning you because of what you're doing in the midweek games. Right. But if you remember back last year, I think those midweek games, truthfully, did a lot for them getting to where they wanted to be, and which was an opportunity to play in the postseason because the SEC schedule started off tough, right? I think they were 3-12 to start the first half of the SEC, and then 10-5 in the back half of it. So what they were able to do in the midweek, which I don't believe they lost it all last year, kind of saved them in terms of not having to be Superman, I guess, getting back into the SEC thing. Because when you go 3-12, just to get to 10-5 is great, but if you lose some of those midweek games, you probably would have needed to be a little bit better than 10-5. So that kind of a performance helped them. I'm not crowning them. I'm just saying pay attention to how it's being done and what's being done. I do think when you continue to go through the season, this is something you can look at and be like, they're showing you bits and pieces. Do I think that they're there where they want to be? Do I think that they're peaking? Do I think they found their sauce, if you want to call it that? Nah, I don't think they're there yet. But they're showing you little things that says, hey, we are a high-quality, high-performing ball club, and I think it's something to be looked at as the season goes along.
Completely agree. And I think that you're going to have to rely on a lot of these bullpen guys at the end of the year. And if you have a weekend like you did this past weekend where you have 2 games where you only use one guy out of the bullpen both days, and that guy goes 4 innings, these guys need to get some work, and they've been able to do that, and they've gotten better. Now moving on to the weekend, big matchup for LSU Oklahoma. You have anything you want to chime in on and say, Lloyd?
Oh, sure. I was looking at the midweek because I do think that it's kind of damned if you don't, as it's been at LSU, where it's midweek games were a part of a conversation at some point where if LSU dropped one, it was the end of the world. But if they would have, it's like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. I think it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do throughout this year and I think I could point to a couple of things, right? You get to see Aaron Beatty play on the midweek. You get to see Ethan Fry, who's kind of emerged and put himself in the lineup because he's been able to do in the midweek. Does it again.
Back to William Schmidt. Get to see him pitch.
And that's it. That was the next one because you have to take some of these opportunities to find some things out about your baseball team, right? Like you have William Schmidt, who you thought was no much longer for the midweek life. Turns out he tries to have 2 appearances in relief for the SC weekend. Doesn't go as planned. You see him back out there on Tuesday to be able to throw and start again. 2 2/3, 1 walk, gave up the 1 homer, but 2 strikeouts. Threw 51 pitches, though. And so I was wondering how that sets you up for
Saturday.
I
think he'll be available Saturday.
The 3rd game.
Yep.
And
go ahead.
when you continue to look down at, because that's how they're approaching this thing. If you don't have a legitimate guy that you want to throw on Tuesday to get you 6 innings, right? You have all these guys that you haven't been able to really find a role for, but there's a role available for them. When you have Cooper Williams, Maverick Rizzi, DJ Primo, Connor Bench, Jacob Myers, Dalton Beck, Chandler Dorsey, all throw. So they're clearly trying to get these guys work, but also somebody show me something so I can go back to you for a day when we don't have Zach Cowan that can go 5, or you don't have Case and Evans be able to go 4 1/3. At some point you're going to need some of these guys, and this is their opportunity to prove that the only way you can compete is live game bullets, and this is their opportunity to get them. And it still hasn't had really anybody emerge. I think Cooper Williams has thrown better. Rizzi has probably thrown better. But the big kicker to me, your former midweek starter, Jaden Newt, did not throw a lick.
That's what I was about to ask. Do we feel like he's the piggyback guy for Sunday or game 3?
I mean, maybe. Obviously, if he didn't throw, you would fully expect to see him throw at some point this week. How it lines up or how he really wants it to line up, I'm not sure we know that yet. But I think so far he's kind of shown you, I have an extreme trust in these guys. And just like Lloyd said, he's wanting these other guys. I'm going to keep running you out there because the talent is so large that I just feel like the more opportunities you get to pitch, the more opportunities you get to break through. So I think he's taking these midweek games and saying, let me keep running these dudes out here, and sooner or later, some one of these dudes is going to start showing up and get over that hump. They're going to get over that spot and start literally just dialed into the zone, literally just pounding the zone, literally just challenging these hitters over and over, and going into these bigger situations on the weekend, they can translate some of that there. Jaden Newt didn't throw, so that would only lead you to think that he's going to be in line for somewhere over the weekend. If it went perfectly, I think, and I wouldn't even say it's perfect because, let's be honest, I don't think anybody is writing a starting lineup in terms of, or starting rotation in terms of the staff and saying, man, I just want 4 innings out of these guys. Right. I think he'd love to be able to get 6 out of his Friday night guy. Love to be able to get 6 out of the Saturday guy. Love to be able to get 6 out of the Sunday guy. But in the event that it doesn't happen, I think last week he just showed you this is how I would love to throw these guys. These are the guys that can take me home for sure now. Now, maybe Jaden will be that guy that will fall into the Sunday role behind Chase if those roles went just how they went last week. But I don't really think that that's exactly how he's trying to line it up to make sure it happens that way. It's just so seemed to happen that way. And I think he feels comfortable enough with those other guys that if I'm not getting shut down great starts from my starters, I got these guys behind them.
Correct. And they may throw 4, they may throw 1. It depends on where the starter goes, and it depends on what the game looks like. But I think that he has 2 guys he trusts. Seems like he's going to see if Jaden's that guy. He's going to give him that opportunity to go and be the extended guy after the starter. It'll be interesting to see, especially the way the weather is. But before we get into that, obviously around the SEC, there's really 2 top 10 matchups. LSU at Oklahoma, and Georgia at Texas. Georgia's obviously ranked 3, Texas is ranked 5, LSU 7, Oklahoma 10. This is according to D1 baseball. A&M is obviously scuffling. They're at Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn. Their Alabama's at Auburn. So there's some big matchups this weekend. Obviously, LSU, Oklahoma, one of those top ones. I am trying to figure out. And look, Oklahoma is 23-5. They're 5-4 in the SEC. They beat South Carolina 2 out of 3. They beat Mississippi State 2 out of 3. They lost to Alabama last weekend 2 out of 3. That puts them at 5-4. I'm trying to figure out the read on Oklahoma. There's not going to be a ton of fans. The weather's going to be shitty. It's going to be a dreary deal. The LSU is going to have to figure out how to bring their own energy, right? I think we've all understand that. We all discussed that. But looking at Oklahoma's numbers, I don't see, and I'm not saying this because LSU's going to, I'm saying, LSU should sweep them. Because Oklahoma is ranked 10th in the country. I'm saying this based off of just they're winning somehow. How are they winning? I'm not sure. If you go look at offensively, Oklahoma is 10th in the SEC with a 296 average. They are 9th in the SEC with a 4.1 cumulative team ERA. Their ace, who is their best pitcher, Kyson Witherspoon, he's 5-1 with a 2.3, right? Obviously, you're going to see him on Thursday. He's thrown 39 innings, has 64 strikeouts, 10 walks, and 7 starts. He is a bona fide ace, right? He is second in the SEC in strikeouts, third in ERA. So you're going to have him go up against Cade Anderson on Thursday, right? But then after that, it falls off. Malachi Witherspoon, who is, I think, the twin brother of Kyson Witherspoon, he's thrown 31 in the third, 33 strikeouts with 16 walks with a 5.7 ERA, right? Has some high velo, 95, 98, but he's obviously given up some runs. And then the Sunday guy used to be Cam Johnson, which a lot of people will remember was at LSU. Left, transferred to Oklahoma. He is throwing 96, 98 miles an hour from the left side. That's great. He has a 5.59 ERA and 19 innings pitched with 21 strikeouts and 17 walks. Those 17 walks has forced Oklahoma to move him from Sunday starter to midweek starter and replace them with another lefty, Cade Crossland, who has a 6.66 ERA, 24 innings, 29 strikeouts, 13 walks. So 13 walks in 24 innings, not great either. And then you go to the bullpen. You have a couple guys. The closer has a 1.5. You have another guy with a 1.1. But everyone else in between, doesn't have anything mind-blowing. So I'm trying to figure out what makes them dangerous. They've obviously won games. And it's going to be interesting to see how maybe they play sloppy and they play dirty and they force you to throw a lot of pitches and do these different things because they're not going to be super explosive at the plate and they're not going to blow you away on the mound.
Every game that they play, and at least that I've seen going through the previous schedule, they're all close. So they're winning close baseball games because you could, like you said, the numbers don't blow you away, but they're finding ways.
They're finding ways to win.
And if I don't know if that's mucking it up or just be able to keep it close because there's not these gaudy numbers like you've seen from LSU, whether it be the midweek or what they're able to do, kind of against Mississippi State, where they could put 18 on you real quick, and you're like, oh, you have a one inning where you put up 8, and it happens to be in the first, and you feel very good about where you can kind of last throughout the fight after that.
Right.
They don't have any games like that. Like
No.
Oklahoma is scratching and clawing. Texas Tech's 8-17, and there's a 2-run ball game.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're showing you exactly who they are. I think they're a middling ball club. Like I think that 9th in hitting, 10th in pitching, right in the middle-ish of the conference is showing you what it is. Now I get it. They've won what they've won. They're 5-4 in conference. Once again, another middling number. I think that conference schedule so far, there's not enough sample size for you to really look at and get a feel for who they are, like where they are in terms of like, oh man, they got this, they're ranked that, but why are they sitting right in the middle at 5-4? Why are they sitting here with 9th in hitting in the league, 10th in pitching in the league? I think that's who they are. Like I think as the season goes, you'll start to see like they're going to play some close ball games. You might feel like they might win some. They may even beat some Friday starters because of the Friday starter that they have. but they're not a great team. And I think the season will continue to show you that as we go along.
I think they might be riding this Round Rock Classic. They beat number 7 Oregon State. This is early in the year now. Number 7 Oregon State 8-4 and beat number 2 Virginia 5-4.
Yeah.
So those are their probably outside of
Which
SEC
Virginia's
wins.
not there anymore.
Right, but I think that you know how
Yeah.
D1 baseball tends to do their thing. They hold on to these teams for a while until they're absolutely been kicked to the curb. But they value some of these like outside of SEC teams a little bit more, because if not, then it would just be an SEC suck fest and nobody really wants that. I mean, you saw it when you went through the rankings where they're like, oh, let's throw Clemson in there.
Right.
You know, they find teams where you're like, I don't think LSU, and especially with they're the last top seed. They've lost, 3 games?
Well, and this is the other conversation, right? You talk about close games. They played Alabama last week. It's their first SEC series loss of the year, right? Third weekend of the series season. They lost 8-6 to Alabama on Friday night. They won 6-5 against Alabama on Saturday, and they lost 8-6 to Alabama on Sunday. So to your point, every single game is a 1 or 2 run game, and they beat Texas Tech 8-6 on the midweek game. So everything is they keep themselves alive. They haven't really, like, LSU is probably going to be LSU and Alabama. This last series and this series, their toughest 2 to date. So I think that we're going to, like Jared said, we're going to start seeing kind of who they are as a team based off of the type of teams that they are playing against.
I don't think they've been totally tested in the SEC yet.
And for me, right, like if you're talking about close games, talking about them keeping games close and winning these close games or playing these tight games, they're used to it. LSU's used to it. It's not like LSU's blowing everybody out. 2-1 game last week against Mississippi State. Obviously, that one was, a game that a type of game that they haven't played a ton of, but showing they can win. For me, the key in a series like this on the road in bad weather against a team that's used to playing close games, it is paramount and pivotal throwing strikes, forcing these guys an offense that's not unbelievably explosive, forcing these guys to earn their way on base, right? Weather's not going to be great, so the ball may be a little slick. It's going to be a little chilly. So force these guys to put the ball in play. Don't make your defense sit out there and watch you walk a bunch of guys. Allow them to stay active by playing balls or having balls hit and play, or having guys, swinging at pitches and having the opportunity of balls being put in play. And so to me, that's the biggest thing that I want to see this weekend, and that I think is the key to winning is, hey, get ahead of these guys, throw strikes, don't give them any free passes. Weather's not great, and don't give them any ammo or don't give them any easy passes.
I think like you're right about that, and I think there's another layer to it. Like we talked about, they're 5-4 in the league. You're going to their house. You're bringing in what is perceived a top team in the country. This isn't a great offense. This isn't a great pitching staff. If you start giving them free passes in this kind of a situation, I wouldn't be they've mucked up every game that they've played in. Like, that's kind of their thing. They do that. They keep it close. If you remember, like, I guess if you want to go team to team, like this Alabama team played against Tennessee. Alabama beat them on that game 1. And then they played some close games and kind of showed, hey, we're somewhere near. We're not quite there yet, but we're somewhere near. Whether this is a team that played pretty much right there with a team that's somewhere near. So you're not going to blow them out. They're going to keep games close. They're going to play in it. So teams that know how to keep games close, if you keep giving them the opportunity to do that, especially at home, they may run away with the series win. That's not what you want to do. So I think it's paramount to go in there to really attack the zone, because I would imagine, don't want to leave this weekend sitting there at where they're 5-4 right now, 6-6. I think they want to kind of keep that winning record and keep pushing themselves in front of this thing. Don't go there and mess around and keep putting runners on, because you may find yourself coming back here with a series loss again. And then if that becomes the case, there is a conversation of, all right, is this LSU team going to figure out how to cross that bridge and get where they need to be, because they're great at home and they play awesome at home, but then they'll be 2-4 at that point. Then they'll have lost to 2 teams who weren't even in the SEC last year on the road in SEC series. And they
Right.
still have the back half of this SEC schedule, which we all know is the toughest part of their schedule.
Right.
So that's what you don't want to see.
Yeah, and then, look, if LSU had the offense of last year, I'd be a little nervous.
No.
You know, because weather's not great. Maybe windy. I don't know where the wind's gonna be blowing. It's gonna be rainy, but they relied solely on the home run last year to drive guys in. Games like this, series like this, with weather like this, doesn't allow for that to happen as consistently. It's harder to do that. The way LSU's offense has played this year, as far as walking, getting on base, driving guys in a bunch of different ways, not just with the long ball, gives me a lot more confidence knowing that they can play in these mucked up games. And they can play in these low-scoring games. They can play in these tight games because of the way that they've been able to manufacture runs and the way that they've been able to put pressure on defenses by getting on base.
Yeah, definitely. This offense is a little different. I think they're still leading the league in batting average. They've done such a good job this year putting pressure on people and scoring in a variety of ways. Now you got guys like Fry coming on. You got guys like Hernandez coming on that are showing you power, showing you thump in that middle of the lineup to be able to kind of supplement and support everything else that they do well. I think the best is yet to come from this team offensively, and I think they're starting to kind of feel themselves and hit a little bit of a stride.
Agreed.
Yeah, the last thing I'm really worried about at this point in time is certainly the offense. They've shown that they can win, or maybe the team as a whole. They've shown that you can win a 2-1 ball game, and then they've shown you that they can beat the shit out of you and score 12 runs, 17 runs, and like when they're rolling, they're rolling. Last year that was not the case. You had, I know we come back to this a lot, but you really did feel like you had two guys. You had Tommy White and Jared Jones, and if they weren't on or if they weren't playing well, if you were able to pitch around them, LSU would struggle to score runs. But
they were definitely the ones that scared you. They were definitely the ones that you were like, shit, man, like this is the ones I feel like have the real power thump. And the reason why I say this, like not to cut you off, but no one looked at Milam as like, hey, he might go off this game. Like, he might legitimately go off this game. I think after you saw what he did in the year sample last year, it's hard to not sit here and he comes up to the plate and be like, don't be goofy here because he might get you for a few. And like that's where you've gotten that. Now you're adding other guys into that as well.
Yeah.
It feels like that's what this whole lineup is constructed as. Like it can be anybody at some point. You see Daniel Dickinson come up in big moments and hit homers. You've seen Milam that if you don't treat him carefully, he'll leave the ballpark. And then you have, like you said, Hernandez coming on, Aaron Beatty, Ethan Fry's making a legit case to be a DH. And then you always have Pearson, and then you have the smaller Pearson. That's the bigger Pearson. That whenever he played, he was hitting balls hard. Like it's a legit 1 through 9 is
no
the
doubt.
problem on the offense.
And the game tomorrow is going to be the biggest challenge of the weekend. Kyson Witherspoon is real. He is a future big leaguer. He throws mid to upper 90s. He has been a bona fide ace for them. Sub-3 ERA, 64 punchies in 39 innings or whatever it is, and that is I'm gonna be interested to see. This is gonna be their biggest challenge to date as an offense. And how do they respond to that? Are they able to continue to stay within themselves? Are they able to stay with their game plan? I have faith that they will. But this is going to be a good match. It's going to be an interesting matchup. And I want to see how Cade rebounds from last week, right? And I think he will, right? Cade kind of gave up the homer ball. It wasn't because he was throwing balls. He was throwing because he wasn't as pinpoint as he has been. Missing over the wide of the plate, and he was giving up mistakes. So how does he rebound? Everything that we know about him feels like he's going to come back out and be lights out this week. But that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch.
Do you think
midseason top pitcher by D1 Baseball, Kyson Witherspoon?
Yeah, and when you saw LSU probably, I would say, who's Texas's guy? Spencer? Is that his name? I think that's his last name. He got the long hair.
Mm-hmm.
That was a legit
yeah.
Yeah, and then also we saw what happened against Pico Kuhn where LSU struggled.
Right.
And that's what makes me wonder if Witherspoon's everything he's billed to be, which I think he is, because this is his second year going in as the SEC and was tabbed at All-American, all of those things, and you've seen it come to fruition again. Do they throw him against Cade Anderson, or because of the way the schedule's lined up, did they do a Thursday, Friday switcheroo like you saw Mississippi State?
I don't know. I mean, Lloyd thinks that's like a legitimate game plan. He's been talking about this since Skeens has been in school, like the back half of that year.
Uh-huh.
I don't really think that that's it, especially not right now. I think you kind of try to keep those guys on schedule. I think you kind of try to get those wins as you can, and maybe kind of, if I bend at all, I'll say towards that back half of the SEC schedule when maybe your wins and losses aren't where you want them and you start trying to pick and choose and start trying to find where you can get some. Maybe some of these coaches and these teams are making those kind of decisions. I just don't think that that's yet.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and-
it.
I
If they
don't.
would-
I don't think when D1 baseball comes out with like this is our guy and you don't feel like your offense is like illegitimate or not good enough that you sit here and say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you just throw the next day? Like I just think that there's a lot going on mentally and psyche wise that it just doesn't. It doesn't. You know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I just don't see that happen.
It's in my mind, it's a preference thing, right? Like, I think that it is a, do we want to keep our guy on Friday and then move a guy? Because here's the deal. I know who's not starting tomorrow, even if they move the starter to Friday. Cam Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Started again this midweek.
Didn't get out the first.
1/3 of an inning pitched. Give up 1 run, 1 earned, 3 walks. 1 hit by pitch. So walked 3 and hit a guy.
He got yanked.
And got yanked. So somebody must have came in there and dealt because saved him because he only gave up 1 earned.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been a few outings like that, so he's not going to start. And so I don't know if I'm Oklahoma. Thursday night is probably out of all 3 nights the best weather night as of now, based off that weather app that we have looked at. They probably use better weather apps, and so if I want to get my starter and my ace the best opportunity to win and not have him come in and get that would be the night. I don't think they move him. I think it's going to be him versus Cade Anderson.
Yeah.
I think you got to think about this too. Like I think it's fair to understand this. And this is no slight to Cade Anderson or anyone else on the roster, but I do think it was very apparent and everybody looked at it like Paul Skeens is a generational arm, man. And I'm not sure we can get one here. So I feel like, hey, we're sitting in spots and we're kind of slighted in the sense of how we view what a Friday night guy should be because we saw a Friday night guy who turned into an ace on a big league staff in less than, 2 years' time?
Right.
Like that's not, you don't find that shit. That's not really a baseball thing. That was a generational arm in that situation. So no slight to anybody on LSU staff, but I think I think it's looked at slightly different than how people kind of approached LSU towards the back end of the year in that 23 season.
And because you mentioned that, it was Paul Skeens' start day, 7 innings pitched, 0 runs, 0 earned runs given up.
Did they close it out for him?
Must have been the
They
GQ
won.
cover.
Yeah. They won 4-2. He gave up 0. He gave up 1 run, 0 earned. They got scored because of an error, and was able to close it out. He struck out 6. So maybe some people may look at that like, oh my God, he only struck out 6, but
First
7.
five.
Struggle.
Gave up 2 hits.
What a bum. He struggled.
Yeah. Paul Skeens, but that generational talent, one of the top, if not the top pitcher in all of baseball.
Yeah, might be the best pitcher in the game.
But yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, we did get a little spoiled, but I think what we have right now is super talented. I think they have the ability to be really good. And I think Cade's going to go out there tomorrow and ball out.
Yeah, you have Cade coming back. Go ahead.
I don't want to switch it off of that. I just don't. I'm not sure. Even people that like baseball understand how damn hard it is to do what Paul Skeens has done so far. Like you have to get off of thinking that that's what every Friday night starter should do. Man, go around the league. How many of those guys that were in the league 2 years ago are pitching on opening day?
Yeah.
None. It's him. It was uno, ace. That was it. It is so hard, even in today's game where that time frame of guys spending time in the minors is escalated, like it's quicker, guys move quicker. To get to a big league team, and I don't give a damn whose team it is. Remember, this is the same guy that started the All-Star game last year as a rookie, right? So we're sitting here talking about that as well. Like, to get to a big league team, be a starter in your day one, which is basically his second year, his first opening day. You're a starter. You are the starter. You are the ace on the team. that shit doesn't really happen in baseball. It really doesn't. And so that guy was in college 2 years ago. He's on a different grading scale than pretty much everything else you've seen, and that's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you can really put anybody. It's a class of his own, right? Like whether it be certainly in college, where I think that was a legitimate strategy. I mean, you saw Luke Holman be like, my back hurts. And then coach like, oh, got to bet on LSU because my starter's out. Like, I'm legitimately going to bet money on him because I think he's going to beat the brakes off of us. But when you have – I think the question more for this perspective was just because of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, where if you wanted to get him to go on 4 days rest or keep him like a regular on a 5 days rest, you saw what happened with Cade whenever he threw on a Thursday. It felt like that did have some sort of an impact, whether it was a scheduling thing where he didn't feel as comfortable as a Friday or like it was a 4-day rest thing. So I didn't know if that was more important than having a matchup of a game one guy versus a game one guy.
Well, the thing, if you want to say it that way too, is then at that point, then what are you doing? You're going bullpen day and you're just not going to throw the guy that was your third starter? You're going to move the Sunday guy back, Saturday guy back a day, which is really kind of the same timeline. So, like, at that point, like, who's really benefiting?
Right.
Like, if that's how we're looking at it, who's really benefiting?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because Mississippi State was probably a unique scenario in which they have a guy that is a quote-unquote opener. So they could get away with kind of doing that on Thursday and rely on, saving Pico Kuhn for a regular start. But
did Mississippi State do that? I mean, they've been throwing him on day two, correct?
Right.
They've been throwing Pico on day two?
No. I think they've been using that guy as an opener. I don't know if it was
I think Pico's been throwing Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that
he's been throwing on day one.
Yeah, I think so.
So the only reason I say that, was it because of that, or was it possibly because he just didn't know, hey, if I lose him today because of the weather situations,
right,
that's not what I want. When I throw Kuhn, I want him to be out there for as long as he can go. Maybe was it more of that, or was it more of let me try to move him because I don't know if I can win this game?
Yeah, I think that they were in a different situation because they have a guy who doesn't throw a lot of innings. He starts games and they use him in a role to get through the lineup once, maybe twice, and he's never gone more than 3 innings, and you saw that against LSU, where we're at that in that 3rd inning mark. That's when LSU kind of started to ratchet it up a little bit, started putting guys on, and then by the time it was the 5th, you had your big inning and you were able to take the lead. But I think that they might have been in a more of a one-off situation.
Pico, just like he throws on Friday.
Yeah, I think that they want to use that like opener just because of the scale of shifting from Thursday to Friday or Friday to Thursday. But I don't think a lot of teams have that guy that does it often.
Well, once again, was it because of that, or was it because of the weather?
That I'll never know.
Yeah, right. Who knows?
And then you might be in the same situation again.
At least LSU's got experience doing that.
Yeah, they loved it.
Yeah. Whatever. They did it. They won it. They got through it. That's the only thing that matters.
That's what you want to know.
Ask Mikie Mitch 30 questions in the chat. We're going to get to them here in a little bit. Let's talk about what we predict on the weekend before we get to the questions. What are y'all feeling?
You got the schedule, Lloyd? We got the schedule up here at all?
I got the schedule.
What do we got? All right. Yeah,
you want to go through the SEC first?
Yeah.
All right. Kentucky at Ole Miss. Ole Miss at Kentucky. My bad.
Ole Miss at Kentucky. I got Ole Miss winning the series 2-1. Kentucky's not as good of a team as they were last year. They don't have that same mojo going. I think they're still trying to find some things going on. I'm going to take Ole Miss, who I think is probably a little bit better than what people think they are this year.
Yep.
And Mangione's got to fight his demons.
I like Ole Miss winning the series as well. 2-1. They're playing good baseball, swinging the bat. They're ranked top. I think they're ranked 9 from D1 baseball right now. 6-3 in the SEC. So I like the way they're playing baseball.
Yeah, they just scored 18 against Jackson State, so they got that 7-run. That 7. I guess the 9. The run rule, the 10-run rule, only played 7. There we got there.
You got it there. Yeah. What do you like, Lloyd?
I don't do these.
Okay.
I would like to. It's maybe some point, but it has to be teams that I've already seen LSU play.
Okay.
In the SEC.
Vanderbilt at Florida.
Oh God.
Yeah, two teams that are trying to figure it out.
Florida is as desperate as it gets. Vanderbilt at Florida. Vandy's
desperate too now.
Honestly, Yeah, no, I know they got swept. They got swept this past weekend, right, by Arkansas, right?
Did they get swept for 2 out of 3?
I think they got swept.
I think
They
might
got
have
swept.
I think they got swept.
They got
Yeah,
swept.
they got swept.
And then they
Here it
just,
is. I think they're getting off. I think they're getting off the mat. Give me Florida winning the series. I don't know how. I don't know which ones they take. Give me Florida winning the series.
Yeah, if you're Florida, you're literally like, we're running out of time. Like, this is where LSU was at some point last year. We're like, oh, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. It's like, brother, y'all better figure it out. And that's where Florida
This is where I thought Florida was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did. Remember, I talked about them going into that Friday night game, and they somehow found a way. I think walk like 13 people in that Friday game. This is where I thought they should have been last week. Even though I said I think that they would lose the series, this is where I thought they would have been my mentality. I think that shows up this weekend and they win the series.
And you're facing a Vanderbilt team who just went into extra innings against Western Kentucky. They went to 10 and won 5-4.
I think I'm going to take Vandy.
Again?
I'm doing it again. 2 out of 3.
I won't be surprised at all if they win the series. I just think I'm like
I hate Florida though.
Yeah.
It's time for them to show up.
I just don't like Florida.
I don't
so
like their coach.
Vanderbilt 2 out of 3.
Almost was LSU's coach if you listen to the wrong people.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a battle of teams that aren't doing very well.
We just had one of those.
South Carolina at Mississippi State.
Oh, let's go.
Dude.
It's Paul's time to shine.
Travel rule on Sunday, split the series? No, I'm kidding. Man. I think this is where Paul shows up at here.
Me too. I'm with you.
I think it's about just seeing his mannerisms in the dugout. I think some hard conversations are being had there in Columbia. I think this is where Paul shows up at. This is where he starts to show like this is his coaching style, and this is how you start getting on the right track. It's a good matchup for him. I don't think it'll be blowouts at all, but give me South Carolina winning this series.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Have you seen, how many times have you seen that look that was on his face where he gets it? What was it? Uh-huh. So I was like, I've seen that man do that so many times. Get me the fuck out of here. I'm so mad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I like
that was great. I've seen that before.
I like South Carolina winning that one. 2-3. 2 games to 1.
No, give me Mississippi State.
Okay. Alabama at Auburn.
Oh.
Alabama at Auburn. This is gonna be. It probably might be sneaky the best series of the weekend. Honestly, I like Bama in this one. I just do. I think Bama's probably a little bit better of a team. But I mean, this is obviously a big rivalry. In-state rivalry. I like Bama in this series, winning the series. That's it.
I think Bama is the better team, but I think Auburn wins the series.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think Bama's a better team, but I think Auburn wins the series. I don't know why. At Auburn.
The way I see it is Bama 2 weeks in a row. The way I see this thing is Bama 2 weeks in a row. Like they played the shit out of Tennessee. They beat them on that first game 1. They played them well in these other 2 games, and I think they looked at it as like a litmus test for them. Like, hey, where are we? Are we gonna show up? Great series for them, even though they lost the series. Obviously, there is no moral victories, but I think inside that locker room, you can look around and say, hey, I think we're a little bit better than what we thought we were. Then you play another scrappy-ass team, and you find a way to just keep scrapping out close games. Win that series. I think they get it. I think they get it done again this week. They started to feel. You can tell the team when they start to feel good about themselves, and they got a damn star on that team too, like a legitimate star.
I'm not. I think Alabama is. I think they're a lot better than Auburn as far as talent goes, but I just think they're playing at Auburn. Obviously, Alabama, Auburn. It feels like one of those series in the middle of the season that's just like, okay, you look back and like, damn, how do we lose 2 out of 3 to Auburn? But I'm taking Auburn.
What did Alabama do last week?
They beat. They won 2 out of 3 against Oklahoma.
Okay.
Next one, Texas A&M at Tennessee.
Oh God.
I got Tennessee winning the series 2-1.
Okay, so they don't sweep. They don't sweep.
No, I don't think they sweep.
Yep. I got Tennessee. I got Tennessee winning the series as well. I think A&M will sneak a game, but I got Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think they just had. I don't know how long ago this was, but A&M blew a game that they should have won, and then there was videos coming out of, God forbid, Lavalette doing karaoke the same night. And so that's where they are in the A&M program. We're like, now you can't – the guy that you had to bring him back, and then you bring in the coach to keep him, and now it's like, no, we don't like him anymore. He can't even sing karaoke. Like, whenever you're filming the player, that's when you know that the program's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
So, Tennessee sweep.
Tough.
Tennessee goes.
I'm gonna get LSU. I'm gonna get LSU Oklahoma last. Georgia at Texas.
Oh,
this is the one
might
I'm
be
looking
the
for.
sneaky best one.
And I'm not even able to watch any of these games.
No, you're going
except Sunday.
You go to a darkness retreat.
Yeah. Ayahuasca.
I still don't think that this one tells us much about either team, truthfully.
Really?
I think there's so much more meat left on the bone after this series. But I'm taking Texas in this one. I am.
See, I think
I'm not so sold on Georgia's pitching. I'm not so sold on Georgia away from their place. But I'm also not sold on Texas yet in this thing. Like, Texas has some depth issues. They still have some things they need to work through. They haven't reached the meat of their schedule. I don't think this series tells us much about either team, but I think Texas wins the series.
See, I'm with you on Texas winning the series, but I think it does tell us a lot. In my opinion, it tells us a lot on this because it is Georgia's first real series away from home on a field that's not known for hitting a bunch of homers. Right? They've been hitting homers all over the place. I'm interested to see how they are going to perform on the road at Texas with a bigger field. I'm interested to see how Texas responds to Georgia's offense with their pitching staff because we know from people that we've talked about, they have 7 or 8 guys that they have confidence in on the mound. Right? Can they continue to keep this run going with those 7, 8 guys? Can they continue to pitch really well? They lost one of their best players, Texas, for the year, I believe. So that's going to be a little bit of a hiccup. But I'm going to take Texas 2 out of 3 against Georgia because I don't feel like Georgia has played anybody yet really on the road.
Yeah, they got to go to the Yeti Yard. That guy's going to be on the call, and I'm just going to have to watch it on mute.
Yeah. I just feel like they go through this series and we'll get a better idea of what Georgia's pitching staff really is. And then I think as you go forward from there, the next couple weeks, it'll kind of reveal to me who they are. I don't know who else they have on the schedule, but I think at that point, when you start seeing their pitching staff play and they're not getting crazy run support, and maybe they do get the crazy run support. I'm just saying, playing in that yard at Georgia is a different beast than playing in a lot of other places. Sure. It is a super friendly hitter's place. So I think getting away from there where you don't get to just watch them launch balls all day and then now you got to go maybe on the road and pitch for real where it ain't super friendly to you on the road. I think this is a start to figuring out who Georgia is this year. Yeah. I don't think it is a decider.
They got Texas. They're at Texas this week and then Arkansas at home next week.
Yeah.
For the
it's going to come in with a better pitches.
These are 2 of their best ones. Yeah. And then they got at Alabama second to last week. And they got A&M last week. In Oklahoma. So, yeah, they play Clemson midweek. That's a pretty good one. Vandy. So, these are obviously these are the 2 of their 2 toughest matchups. So, interested to see kind of how they respond to that. But I'm with you. I'm going to take Tennessee. Damn it.
There you go. Take Tennessee.
No, my computer died.
Laptop died.
I'm going to take Texas to win the series 2-1.
What do y'all think about this look?
Don't love that.
It's a lot. It's not the only one, though. They've been doing that for a while. I remember Phelps was doing it. Trey Phelps was doing that last year.
Yep.
It's kind of their thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of swag and feel and love and all of this going on when they're at that place, and it's an unbelievable place to hit. Size-wise, the way the ball flies there-wise, the way the background looks. Everything's good about that. So I want to see when it's not that, and you got to go on the road, and I'm not sold on the pitching staff yet, where is it going to be?
Agreed.
That's what I want to see.
All right, last series before LSU, Oklahoma. I think everybody knows this one. Missouri at Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm going to go Arkansas with the sweep. Look, Arkansas is better than you think.
I think they're great.
Hey, no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, the last few years, they've obviously been able to pitch it as good or better than anyone in the league over the last 4 to 5 years, but I think the lineup it's a lot better than it was last year. And that's the kind of things where you start looking at their lineup and seeing who can deliver in big situations. And I think they got a few guys that can do it this year.
Yeah.
So they've kind of gone untalked about because of how good they were last year, of how dominant they were on the mountain last year, and how much they did not deliver once they got to the postseason last year. I think that flying under the radar thing right now is something they're feeding off of, and I think they're a better team. And I think they sweep.
I agree. I think they. This is one of Arkansas's best teams that they've had because they feel like they're a complete team this year with the offense and the pitching staff. I think it's a sweep too. They'll be 11-1 at the end of this weekend. All right, LSU at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
What we got, boys?
Strictly off of, I don't see this team yet as a team that's going to go on the road 2 road series in a row and lose them. I got LSU winning 2-3, but I will say because of the way Oklahoma plays, I won't say scared, but I do think like this is going to be a very challenging series for them.
Yep.
They have an ace. They play well at home. They keep games close. This is going to be a challenge for them. But I think they get this one done because I don't think this team is as talented as that Texas team too.
I like LSU winning the series 2-1. I want to see how they navigate this road. The first time they had a true road series, they lost at Texas. Obviously, Texas is a good team. I want to see how they respond to that. They've been playing really good baseball. Very excited about tomorrow's game to kind of see how that pans out, but I like LSU winning the series. I think
Any
LSU's
chance
depth
they
versus
sweep?
prevails. Any chance? Yeah, I think there's a chance. I wouldn't put money on the sweep, but I think there's a chance. I think if they can get through tomorrow and get through that win, I think LSU's depth, or I think Oklahoma's depth is going to get challenged with LSU if they can get through that game one with a dub. Because Oklahoma's going to try to scratch and claw and try to get a win. And with some delays, you may not be able to have a guy go as long as you want if he starts and it gets rained out, all those types of things.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that because you kind of teed me up. Will we see another bullpen arm emerge and give legitimately quality innings to where you're like, oh shit, that was a little different than what we've seen recently?
Yes. For LSU?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who? I think we see Maverick Rizzi throw multiple innings this weekend. I think he's been getting better, and I think Jay has been really trying to hey, prove to me, show me, because I need you to get in there. And I think he's gotten better and better, and I think it's a good team to do that against.
Yeah, that's what.
What's the other big righty? Myers, maybe.
Oh
yeah,
God.
got in yesterday, walked a guy.
More than one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got in yesterday, walked a couple guys. It's just if he can figure out the fastball, if he can figure out the strike zone, he ain't gonna be touched. He hadn't figured it out yet.
He hasn't figured that out yet. Yeah, I agree with that.
Year 3 of the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, the fastball plays. That would be the one person I think if they could get right, if you could give him a pill, I'd be like Jacob Myers. Here's the throw strike pill. That would really set LSU up.
If you could give him a throw strike pill, that's the guy you want in the 9th inning and say, hey, hit it. Here it is. You can't hit it.
Yeah.
1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I do think too. We're getting close to. I feel like someone who could be an X factor for him, but sooner or later, Gavin Guidry is going to be back and active, and I think that's another arm that's going to be super reliable for him in the back end of that bullpen. It's just a matter of fact or a matter of time of when is he going to be active and when is he going to be up to speed again.
I hope you're right. I mean, I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what kind of injury he's got.
Middle of the body. That could be your back. It could be your front.
Yeah. All right.
But that's I mean, you kind of talked about it before the prediction part of the show when you said what LSU has to do and who you're relying on and who you haven't seen do it yet. If LSU continues, if they have to throw on this, and I think it would probably be Game 3, because now you're reliant on you need Cade Anderson to be able to get you through, 4, maybe 5. That's when you feel really comfortable. Ianson, if he's able to do what he did last week and go 5 innings again, and you feel really good about your first 2 games, Game 3, Shores obviously wears one off the face. He said it's getting better. He can see out of his eye now. He's going to be available to throw Game 3. But that's where it gets dicey for me, because you've seen when these guys come in, you had Cooper Williams, who's starting to get ramped up also, 2 walks. Jacob Myers in a third of an inning, 2 walks. Dalton Beck, 1 full inning, 2
Now,
walks.
I will say this. A lot of those guys haven't thrown in a while.
Right. This is
So,
when they get their chance.
Right. So,
They're all through in Texas.
I would imagine, if they throw this weekend, I bet you they throw better than they did on Wednesday, because some of those guys hadn't thrown in over a week. Some of them 2 weeks. I don't know when the last time Myers threw.
Yeah.
I think he threw the last time.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
But I say all that because when it becomes this, if it's not going to be Schmidt being able to extend on the third game and kind of give you and eat some innings, then it becomes, I think Newt is a power player in this as well, because he didn't throw, and I think that's something that they're going to try to put in that role. But if it's not that guy, it's tough to put teams away when you keep giving them free passes. Even what you did against, who was it? A&M, whenever you scored 17 runs. Mississippi State, when you scored 17 runs, you still gave up 8 because you walked. You put 11 people on base.
Right.
So if that is still in play, that's the game that Mississippi State wins. That's how they want to play. That's how they want to beat you. It's like, give me free passes, give me an opportunity. So all that to say, 2 out of 3 feels safe.
I agree. All right, ask Mikie Mitch. We appreciate all the questions on Twitter or on X and in the chat.
Ask Mikie and Mitch. First one up. Going through the chat first, boys. Thank you. We'll start off with this one, just in case. Fonz Ferrelli, ask Eminem. I know it's not what's happening, but what if LSU is holding Guidry to bring him in for the Tennessee series? Really get the crowd amped. Love the idea of it. I don't think that might be the first time you see him, though.
Great movie storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, it'd be great for movies. It doesn't usually work that way, and I'm sure it's not working that way right now, but I would imagine him also, hey, whatever I need to do to be ready for that series, if that's realistically in the realm of possibility, I think he wants to make sure, let's just make sure I'm good and back for that. I don't want to come back too early and maybe risk it again, but maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are going on, man. It's in a year where it could be his draft year, or it is his draft year. If he chooses to do that and go, you would want to get as many opportunities as possible and not miss games. So I'm sure that's on his mind as well. So yeah, there's so much going on there. You just, I don't know.
Right.
It just feels like that's the way it's setting up this year. Not because of the storyline and oh, here comes Wild Thing out the pen. It's just you've heard Jay say, it's optimistic as I can be. It would be the Auburn series, but it didn't sound like he was going to pitch against Auburn. So your next one coming up would be the Tennessee series, where the timeline kind of seems to make sense. And like you said, Jared, there's a definite role for him. It's not like he's coming back just to come back. It's like he's seen this team play. He had a front row seat the entire time. It's like, man, I could be in this spot. And I think that's who they would want to go to a lot of these times. Because I don't think he doesn't come back to close. That's Casey Evans' job now.
Right. Oh, he's gonna be.
He's one of those guys though, man. If there's nothing else that you can count on when it comes to him, everything that we heard preseason was that the fastball was playing up, which obviously plays better for the slider, and the slider was still there. So you would expect that there was better stuff as well.
Yep.
What you really love about Gavin Guidry is that kid's gonna go up there and compete his ass off every time he gets the ball. And guys like that approach the game like that, you know that you can count on them at the back end, somewhere in the back end in tough spots in the game. And to be able to insert someone like that back into your bullpen, it's a huge lift.
Yeah. So we'll see you when we see you.
Great.
Brady Romero.
And he's a strike thrower.
Brady Romero asked Mikie and Mitch a hypothetical question for a major league club. Would you rather a starting pitcher go 5 innings with 2 earned per game, or 8 innings with 4 earned per game for 33 starts a year?
You don't have to burn his pen, so you can almost run him out there as a day one guy. You may not score 4 every day, but now I know the rest of these series. If he's my ace and he's showing up on day one, if he's my ace, well, I know my pen's gonna be safe. So whoever I need to use the pen the next day, and I think as the season goes, if they're literally saying that's what's going to happen, as the season goes, your offense starts to understand, hey, scratch 5, bro.
Yeah.
Just give me 5.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow, get me to 5 today. Like, give me that. Because he sets you up. Every time he throws, he resets the pin and he sets you up going forward. And I think that's what you really want out of a starter.
Yeah, I'll take the 8 and 4. 8 innings, 4 runs for those reasons. I mean, I think getting deep in games consistently like that. I mean, they used to have a lot more of that, and it used to be the 4th, 5th guy, and used to be called they're innings eaters. Mm-hmm. And they'd have a 4.3, 4.4 ERA, but they would throw over 200 innings a year, and those guys used to get paid a ton of money because they were valuable because they would save bullpens. And so I would take that. Now, but the way baseball is
Plus,
structured,
I mean, like, hey, you know it too. I guess it's kind of going away with the starter, with the analytic age, if you will. But hey, bro, we used to always crack the joke if every time you went out there, you were 5 and dive. We'd be like, "Hey, bro, can we get you in the 6th one day?
Yeah.
Like, can we get you to pitch into the 7th? Can we get you to shower with the men at the end of the game and not by yourself because you're done that early?"
Yeah.
So like that's always been a conversation too.
Yeah, and the way baseball is structured now, like you don't see that near as much. You only see that from the aces. You don't see that from a lot of guys in the starting rotation. But I'd take 8 and 4 all day.
Yeah.
Who was it? Jamie
Moyer.
Yeah.
More.
Ate a lot of innings.
See how quick that came out? Right?
Ian Kennedy used to throw a ton of innings.
That 8 and 4, if you're gonna take the ball every 5 days, was literally like this is at worst a number 3 starter in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Like at worst. Because we know he's saving our pen, he's gonna go out there, he's gonna give us quality innings, he's gonna keep us in the game, and he's always taking the ball. So at worst, you were the number 3 guy.
Yeah,
We're
Mark
pretty
Burley.
much almost there.
Mm-hmm. Mark Burley had thrown 200 innings.
Beautiful one.
Mark Burley had 200 innings thrown in almost every game, every year of his career. He tried to do it. The year he retired was my rookie year. And he threw in game 1 of our series. I hit a homer off of him.
Oh.
And no. I did not hit a homer off him. I hit a homer off him on the next time he pitched. I'm going to explain it. So he pitched game 1, and he didn't throw enough innings. He needed like an inning and 2/3 to get to 200 innings. He was retiring after the end of the year.
Got to keep the streak alive, though.
So they pitch him again on the last game of the season. They're like, we just need to get through it. He gave up 9 runs in the first inning. That's when I hit the homer off of him. But there was an error by the first baseman. By Encarnacion was playing first, and he clanked a jam shot ball that would have been the 3rd out. And so he didn't get through the inning. And they took him out with like 199 innings pitched.
Oh.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Stanley Reed. Stanley, stay with me, buddy. Would you rather face power righty like Witherspoon or a crafty lefty like Cone? I thought Cone had a little bit more juice, not too crafty.
Well, first off, Coon's definitely not a crafty lefty.
Right.
He was throwing the shit out of heaters, and he had a wipeout slider. I think that's crafty means
Jamie
I
Moyer.
don't necessarily
Jamie
want
Moyer.
to challenge you with the heating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crafty.
Yeah.
Crafty's not that
Mark
kind
Burley.
of guy. Like, I think power, whatever it was, I would obviously rather a power righty as a lefty. I'm pretty sure Mikey might actually rather a power righty anyway as well. But usually the guys that were power guys or the guys that pitched that way, you felt like, hey, you were going to get at least one pitch in that bat where he was definitely going to challenge you, whether it was the heater, whether it was a slider, whether it was a curveball, whether it was a challenge, a changeup. When I say challenge you felt like for sure he knew that at some point in that bat he was going to have to try to get in the zone, and he wasn't afraid to do that.
Yeah.
You get that feel sometimes with a crafty guy where you feel like they are literally trying to live on the black or 2 inches off of it, and they want nothing to do, whether it's 2-0, 3-1, runner on third base, bases empty, up 4, down 4. They want nothing to do with touching the middle of the plate. And then when you got a guy that can do it decently, it almost makes for that bat where you're just like, man, like I want to hit too. I don't really want to stand up here and have to be so selective all day as soon as that you're on the mound.
Yeah.
So I think you want the power guys because the mindset of the power guys, they've kind of been bred their whole life understanding like, hey, pound the zone, they can't hit that. So they tend to usually want to challenge you more than the crafty guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. If it's between a crafty lefty and a power righty, I'll take the power righty.
From Peggy on Twitter. How do you rank Nate Yetzke among pitching coaches? I think that's a very popular.
Amongst
Question.
like current pitching coaches or pitching coaches at LSU or
Let's just go current
okay.
this year.
I mean, I think his resume speaks for itself. He's been successful everywhere he's gone. He's got he's got the resume to back it up, and I don't think Yesky's the issue of the pitching staff. You know what I mean? I think we've seen Cade Anderson get better, right? Look at the guys that have been with him for multiple years that have gotten better. Cade Anderson's one of those guys. A lot of these guys are new. He's trying to feel them out right now. I like Yesky. As far as rating him, I don't know how. I'm not going to rate him as a number, but I think he's one of the better pitching coaches out there.
Yeah, I'm with him. I'm fine with him. I like Yesky. I think, like you said, man, look at the resume. I think it's kind of unfair if we're going to sit here and try to say he's not a pitching coach or not a good pitching coach with the kind of resume that he's put together. I'm fine with him.
I mean, yeah, that's the guy that gets the lion's share of the blame sometimes whenever you feel comfortable with your head coach. I mean, did the same thing to Wes Johnson. Look what he's doing at Georgia.
Right.
I literally was about to say, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I was like, hey, Wes Johnson, and I'm not saying that he's not doing well. I'm just putting it all into context. Wes Johnson was the guy that was supposed to be the pitching guru. Right now, as it stands, Georgia's sitting 13th in the league in pitching. Right now, as it stands, LSU's sitting 5th in the league in pitching. So when we sit here, I would imagine that question came out of, I'm not sure if I'm sold on him, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's not what Peggy was thinking. I'm wrong. I just would imagine that that's where it's come because that's kind of been the overall tone that people have kind of put towards it. I don't really think that that's where it's at, man. And I think that's unfair to kind of put it that way. Like I said, Wes came here as the pitching guru. Wes went there, and you still think he's the pitching guru because that's what he does. He was literally a big league pitching coach. That team's sitting there with a 4.79 ERA in year 2, and they're the top 5 team, top 3 team, right? Why aren't they pitching better?
Right.
So that's it. I'm not questioning Wes. I'm just saying, that's not fair to sit here and say, well, is he a good pitching coach? Like the tone we've heard so much about Yesky.
Yeah. Next.
That's Mikie and Mitch from the Fonz. When y'all go back to Omaha to watch Cincinnati, do you get flashbacks?
Yes. I never played in the new stadium, but yeah. Enjoyed. Good memories.
We went to the mini stadium. We tried to replace
We did. We did. We went to the mini stadium. A little wiffle ball.
Yeah. But yes, it was cool. It was really cool being there. We like to go again this year, so
yeah, come on. Y'all get there.
We're not there.
All right, last one up. A lot of bullpen questions, but we kind of touched on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ethan Fry solidify the DH spot? Will it remain matchup-based? He's been going against righties.
That's a great question.
Question.
I mean, because if he keeps doing what he's doing, it's hard to keep him out the lineup. It really is. And I think Jay's proven this year he's going to play the hot hand at that spot. And right now it feels like he's the hot hand.
I think Jay has also proven to you that he wants him to take that spot because he knows the kind of thump and the kind of presence he can bring to the lineup, judging off of just what he did last week with him. He gave him starts in those situations. He even told us as he came on the show earlier this year that right before he got hurt last year, that was when in his mind he was like, I'm just going to put him out there and let him play and let him go. He needs these at-bats. So I think Jay sees the potential of what he can do and what it could mean for this lineup, and he wants him to take that spot. I'm not sold that that's exactly what's going to happen yet, but I think that's pretty obvious that he wants that.
Correct.
I mean, the kid's a specimen, man. And if y'all remember, too, last year, that was one of the swings that we broke down and we said, shit, man, this could play.
Yeah.
This looks good. So, it's there.
Yeah, that's why I haven't never really gave up on Fry because of that one swing breakdown where you're like, okay, if he figures it out.
Injuries has been his biggest thing. Hadn't been talent. Injuries.
Yeah.
Roast pond.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. We appreciate the question. That's all we got for Ask Mikie and Mitch. We appreciate answering your questions every Wednesday. Always bringing in good questions.
I know. I love it.
Yeah. You do Lloyd's job for him. Thank you for that.
No, yeah, absolutely. It makes production much easier.
All right. You want to get to the Seggies?
Yes,
Okay. You got a mistake of the day?
I do. And it's an interesting one because it seems like somebody that was just doing his job. Somebody because of how famous Messi is and him coming to America and what he's able, the fanfare that he gets. They had that bodyguard that was running on the field quite a bit to stop fans from jumping the fence and trying to touch Messi, whether it be after the game,
I
during
think I
the
just
game.
saw that.
And now he has been banned from working with Inter Miami. Could play for Inter Milan if he wanted to. But this man was only there for Messi's protection. Don't know why.
Why is he banned?
I don't know.
What
Yeah,
did
why
I
is he
do?
banned? What happened?
They
I'm
just
confused.
this is his quote. I was in Europe for 7 years working for League One of the Champions League, and only 6 people invaded the pitch. I came to the USA in just 20 months. 16 people have already done there, so there's a huge problem there. I'm not the problem. Let me help Messi. And so here he is in action, but they don't want this guy anymore. Look at him.
Oh, you know why? I bet you because you're banned because now people know and they're challenging you.
Right, maybe.
That's the issue. Nobody knew about him over there in Europe, or maybe they had more respect for the game in Europe.
Oh,
Maybe they thought he was too forceful. Maybe I don't really know. I don't know.
he is an ex-U.S. Navy SEAL, martial arts boxer, and taekwondo expert.
Wow.
Sounds like someone who might be forceful, just a little bit.
Yeah. I still got it in me.
Here's my thing: you run on the field, you're
You're at risk from running into a Navy
you
SEAL.
should be getting people can get forceful with you at that point.
What a great
I agree. I'm just saying. That's my guess. I don't know.
But, yeah, that is the mistake of the day, letting this man go, because now he's
Damn,
left.
Ovechkin passed.
Has he done it already?
I don't know, did he tie him or pass him?
I think he needs like 5 goals.
Well,
I know he's close. I don't know. Yeah,
They're giving high fives right now to him. Did he pass Wayne Gretzky?
Maybe so. He was
Or
going
did
to.
Did he tie him? I don't know.
At some point,
Yeah.
Alexander the Great passes
no.
the Great
4.
One.
He has
Yeah.
4 left.
Yeah, he'll get it.
Yeah.
There it is.
No doubt.
I knew he was close, but I didn't think it was that close yet. But yeah.
Yeah, 4. He needs 4 left. All right. Curtain calls. Brought to you by our friends at Perkins McKenzie and me. What we got? What we got?
Oh, Jared sent me his. That's what I just got.
You want to cue it up, or you want me, or somebody else wants to go first?
I'll go first because I don't have a video.
Yeah.
This is my curtain call because I've been in this situation before, and I know what it feels like. In a sense, I don't know what it feels like because to have the money that he has, to have the seasons that he has had, but I know what it feels like to go through a hitless struggle. And my curtain call is to Rafael Devers. He started this season 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. Right? That is, I've been in a situation where you don't feel like you might as well just not give me a bat because I'm swinging and I ain't hitting anything. Right? And I can't get a hit, and it's miserable, and it looks bad. And then when you do get the hit, there is that sense of, oh my God, that feels so good feeling. And Rafael Devers broke the hitless streak with a double off the right field wall. And you never want to see anybody fail. I've been in that situation. I am curtain call to him because I know how good that probably feels for him.
Jared, this was going to be mine too.
Yeah, I've been in that situation too. It's not.
Not fun.
Huh?
That is not fun. Uh-oh.
What'd you say? No, it's not. What'd you say, Lloyd?
Oh, I said this was going to be mine too. This
Oh,
play
a
is
dual
incredible.
curtain call. Go ahead.
Oh, well, then we can do it together.
This was
We can do it together. I guess I'll give you my side of it, and you can give your side of it. I'll put this as a curtain call because the amount of confidence and the amount of goofiness, and I would imagine that this dude is probably a clubhouse web gym, because to make this throw at the end of a game when you're about to lose is so damn funny to me that it's incredible that he even thought that this was like, I don't care, I'm gonna throw it anyway, and I really don't like. That's unbelievable. So I'm gonna give it a curtain call to this man's confidence, because I don't, you can't, there's no way you're lacking confidence if you thought that was a good idea to throw the ball like that, and that you're probably going to be back in the lineup the next day. Like, that's crazy work for me.
Hey, do or die.
I'll give it a curtain call to that.
Do or die. Do or die. The ball just got, he just, lost his footing a little bit there.
Oh, he went with the yard sale. What's the move called where you flip after you throw it?
Yeah, he didn't, No.
That's so funny. But this was actually mine. Mine is actually a good play. I mean, good effort from him.
Same guy?
No, it's a different guy, but different result as well, but also incredible arm strength. Because I think that's what that guy had. He was showing off a little bit of his arm.
Show it off for the scouts. Throw it in
Yeah,
the
let him
stands.
know. You don't get to throw it as hard as you can every time, but this guy did.
Pitching staff. And he does just that.
Bottom of the fifth.
West Virginia.
Ohio State.
This is quick, too.
Wow, robbed
Homer.
it. All the way home?
The first. Bang, double play.
Yeah, that's great. That's knowing, like, that's good awareness.
Another hand cannon, too.
Yeah.
He didn't really get to get his feet off of him. A lot of effort.
Yeah.
Just to go up and get it.
Great
and then
play.
to be like, I got you. I peg you.
They do it all in one motion, too, right there. That's impressive.
Great play.
And on the money.
What a grab and a
Yeah,
double
Jared,
Jared, was it you that I was playing against when I was in Charlotte and there's a ball hit to left field and I tried to double the guy off and I slipped and I threw the ball almost to the moon? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't you.
Wait, I can tell a bit of that. Wait, let me tell a little bit of that story. So, yeah, that shit happened. Obviously,
Hey,
we're hitting.
great
balls in
throw,
the field
though.
to
Ended
hit
up
at
being
the
a
time.
great throw.
Dugout. We're in the dugout, but this man threw a absolute fly ball from the outfield to third base. Like, legitimate, a fly ball. And I remember our outfield coordinator was in town at the time, and he was standing next to me as this happened. I won't forget this. And we watched that shit go in the air, and it landed. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. He goes, "Hey, man, go call you, boy. What the fuck was that?"
Hey, they hit. So the guy, it was the runner on first was stealing. The guy hits a fly ball to left center field. I catch it. I know the guy had gotten to second base. And so when I caught it, I spun around to throw it. And as I throw it, I lose my footing. Like my left foot slips. And I'm already in this throw motion. And this ball goes, I'm not joking, straight up in the air. Right to the first base. Right to the first base in his chest. But it was hit the moon and came back down.
Safe.
Everybody looked at me, and the center field looked at me.
That
I was
shit was funny as
like,
hell.
"My bad, dude."
Y'all don't throw it in like that?
When I slipped and I let it go, I'm like, "This ball's going 7 rows deep."
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, where's this ball going? Thank
It's
God.
a wonder that you even put it on the money
Yeah.
like that, but it was funny. It was so
Yeah.
damn funny.
Yeah, wild.
It was funny.
I've been there. All part of it. All right, that's all we got for you on this beautiful Wednesday. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods. We will not, maybe, unless they want to have one, have a show this Friday. I will be praying for everybody. I'm going on a little retreat. No phone. Put me away. Can't talk to me.
Lock away the key.
Lock away the key. So I will not be, I'll be out of commission. But if the boys want to have one, I don't know what they're doing.
You'll never know.
I'll never know. I'll never know. But we appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. We'll be back live on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Enjoy your Wednesday night. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Peace.
2 thumbs up for religious rehab.
Damn, nothing.
Streak's over.
That's wild.
Maybe it.
Oh. Yeah.
There it is.
You got to flash some pearly whites.
There it is. All right, boys.
Baby.
We appreciate y'all. Hey, Lloyd, Jared, y'all have a great weekend. I'll pray for y'all this weekend. Don't worry.
Don't pray for me.
You're right.
See
You
you
don't
boys.
deserve it.
No.
Peace.
Yeah, drop a couple in there.
I got
Drop a
you.
couple in there.
Peace.
Peace.